Hey, this is Bobby with Adventure Junkie. Today we'll be talking about the Yamaha Tenere 700, and I'll be going over a couple different accessories that I would recommend go ahead and ordering while you're waiting for your Yamaha Tenere 700 to show up at the dealer. And I'll also cover different accessories that I think you could probably wait until you actually get the bike before you pre-order them. So here's the Yamaha Tenere 700. A few things, I'll try to make this video as quick as possible and straight to the point. A couple things that I will recommend and go over, and I'll tell you if it's something that you could wait or if it's something that I would go ahead and recommend ordering now while you're waiting for your Yamaha to show up at the dealer. First thing that we're going to go over is a protective windshield, or I'm sorry, protective light cover for your headlight. It's something I would recommend, especially if you're riding with other bikes. I got this one, it was eBay or Amazon. I think it was around $40 for this. Easy to install. This is something I would definitely recommend because after one rock to the headlight, you're done. So definitely something I would recommend. Something else I would recommend is adjustable brackets for your windshield. I set at 510, and even at 510, I was getting buffeting in my helmet until I put this adjustable bracket on. It's very easy to install. Got this bracket off of eBay for $25, and it gives you these little adjustment nuts on the outside here. You just loosen these up and you can move your windshield up and down. Very simple install, and makes a world of difference as far as wind noise goes. Once I installed this, adjusted it to the right height, buffeting went away. I typically run a traditional dual sport style helmet with a visor on top, and I can pretty much tilt my head all the way back, look straight up into the sky, and I don't get that feeling that my helmet's about ready to get ripped off my head with the windshield moved up just a little bit. So definitely something I'd recommend go ahead and get ordered. Once again, it's just the brackets. You use your stock windshield, very cheap. So these first two pieces here, definitely recommend it. I got some crash bars here. These are the Heed brand. I did a lot of research on different brands. Just seems like fit, finish, cost, availability, protection. The Heeds seem to be the best from what I reviewed. They mount directly to the frame versus the motor, which was a big concern for me. So I definitely want something that was frame mounted versus motor mounted. The hardware it comes with is the correct hardware. It's the right lengths. It's good quality hardware. These things pretty much fell into place when I'm mounting them up on the bike. I've read some reviews of some of the different brands, some of the brands that even cost more than these. And you're sometimes having to use like a tie-down strap to cinch them together to get the bolt holes to line up, or having to bend them or tweak them. And some of those actually cost twice as much as these did. Pretty much same type of coverage, but these just bolted right up. Fit and finish of the painting on them, the powder coating, good. The welds are good. I mean, there's nothing I can really complain about these. They look good on the bike. Good thing about these Heeds is I got them directly from Poland. There's not a US distributor at this time, but even coming directly from Poland, it took 3 days for these to come from Poland to Arkansas, which is amazing. So crash bars, you're definitely going to run these on your bike. They're cheap insurance, because if you just fall once, these side panels will be destroyed. And the cost of these will probably cost even more than what these crash bars are. Plus, I kind of think it gives a good adventure bike look to them. So crash bars, definitely recommended. Next thing, accessory I put on is some of these bark busters. I went with the actual bark buster brand. Just because these ones are Yamaha Tenere 700 specific. That means all the mounts, spacers. It comes with new bar end weights. It comes with hardware to thread back into the stock bar, because these bars are actually threaded on the inside. So you definitely benefit having this. That way you can just thread them in. Super simple install. I got these from ProCycle. They're the only ones I could find that actually listed the ones specifically for the Yamaha 700. There is obviously just universal ones, but if you're going to get the Barkbuster brand, I would definitely just go ahead and get the the Yamaha Tenere 700 specific ones, because they just bolt up so easy. I would say this is a piece that you would probably want to go ahead and buy, because it's a protection piece. and one fall on this bike, you're going to break your levers. That might strain you. The stock bark busters that come with are more or less just wind deflectors. They're nothing great. They're kind of ugly. They're flimsy, and just resting your helmet on them is enough to tweak them and bend them. So go ahead and get a set of these ordered. I think these were just a little over $100, maybe like 120 or so. So something cheap and easy you can set aside. And if by chance you switch your mind on a different bike, all you would need to do is just swap out the hardware, and you can move these to whichever bike you go to. Next thing up here is the double take mirrors. These are nice to have, but they're not a necessity. I had these on my DR650, and they're very nice. They're easy to adjust. You can see behind you. Very good mirrors. They're durable, but actually the stock Yamaha Tenere 700 mirrors are pretty adequate. So unless you just want to spend the money, I would say upgrade to these mirrors later on, if you even do upgrade. The stock Tenere 700 mirrors are actually pretty good. I got a quad lock mounting system for my phone on here. I use this to hook my phone up because I use my phone for my GPS system. So I would say this would be a necessity if you're like me that uses GPS for everything. That way you're not having to pull your phone in and out of your pocket. This has the absorption in it, so it kind of helps fight the vibrations that go to your phone. I run Samsung Androids, so they're a little bit better on the vibrations, but I know on the new Apple phones, if you don't have a system like this and you have it mounted to like a bar or something on the bike, you can actually damage the camera system on it just due to the vibration. So quad lock already had that figured out. It's a simple system, easy to on and off. I've used different system like the round mount systems in the past, and this is just so much simpler. You don't have those ugly rubber bands hanging when you don't have your phone in here. So if you're gonna mount your phone up here by the instrument panel, I would definitely recommend these. But if you're gonna go to a tank bag, which is the Rig Gear Adventurer, is this one here, I highly recommend some type of luggage system that you're gonna keep on your bike 24/7. Something that will always be there, so you can keep your tools in here. I keep a little mini air compressor in here. I keep a little bit of change in here just in case I run into a backwoods gas station that doesn't take credit cards, or the credit card machine's down because the internet's down. You always keep about 20 bucks or so in here. Keep a few tools, my headlamp, some chapstick, just some basic necessities that I will always take with me no matter how short or long the ride is. I like tank bags better than tail bags because when you swing your leg over the bike, you don't have to worry about anything getting hung up on it. This is up front. It's easy to get to, and I can actually still ride pretty aggressively, and never once have had this come in and interfere with my riding. So very good bag for the price. Rig Gear makes amazing stuff for the money. I ran this on the DR650, a tail bag, and some other luggage systems before, so I knew Rig Gear before that was, this will be a very good quality. I've been super happy with this bag. But if you decide not to get a phone mount system like this, they actually have a cover up here. You can actually stick your phone or GPS system up here, or even your map. And there's a hole going through the front here you can run your charging cord to, so you can even charge your phone in the bag if you wanted to. So if you want to go away with this, or if you have a phone that you're a little concerned having out here in the elements, or worry about vibrations to the camera system on it, you can just throw in your tank bag here, save the cost of this whole system up here, and just run it directly in your bag if you wanted to. So this right here, not necessarily something I'd buy right away unless you're 100% sure this is where you're going to mount your phone system. But I would definitely recommend a tank bag. That way you can kind of hold off on this and run this with your phone system for the time being. Very well-made bag. Once again, highly recommend it. Expands up so you can fit some extra cargo in it if you needed to. When I'm going camping or something like that, or if I want to stop at the grocery store, pick up a few things, it's got plenty of room in it. Moving down here, I got an extension brake pedal. It says Tenere 700 on it. This is just an eBay special. I mean, it's just a very simple piece of aluminum. You can't really overcomplicate this. I figured it was safe enough to run on this. Easy install, cheap. Stock Yamaha Tenere 700 rear brakes aren't the greatest. I think it's really just the way everything's mounted up. You just can't get the right feel for the brake. Once I put this on there, rear brake feels amazing. No complaints off-road, on-road, anything. This makes a huge difference on the way that back brake feels. 20 bucks. 100% recommend go ahead and order this before you get your bike, because you're definitely going to want to upgrade to something like this. Moving back here to the stock, or I'm sorry, a aftermarket exhaust system I got. This was just another Amazon special. Mid pipe plus the silencer. I don't think I paid over 100 bucks for both pieces. I think it was actually around 80 or so. Went ahead and reused the stock heat guard. Just used some hose clamps, drilled a hole in them, ran a bolt through them, then put a nut on the end of those bolts and put the stock heat shield on. It uses a CB 500X mid pipe, which isn't the best connection. It's not 100% perfect, but what I did is just got some exhaust tape, wrapped it around it, put the clamp on it. That seals everything up nice and tight, so there's no exhaust leaks. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it looks good. The exhaust sounds great. It's loud when you really just hammer on it, but at idle, just cruising around, you definitely don't get any type of fatigue feeling, and it's not too loud for that. I don't think it's too loud to really get on anyone's nerves, neighbors, stuff like that. I mean, you would have to have really picky neighbors to get upset with the exhaust system. But with that being said, it is still quite a bit louder than your stock system. I just went with this to see the sound potential of the T7, and it sounds amazing. I kept my stock exhaust system just so I have the added benefit if I want to go someplace that requires a spark arrestor. I'll just easily swap on the stock system. It takes about 10 minutes to swap out exhaust. And that's until I find a good exhaust system that has a forestry approved spark arrestor, because a lot of the exhausts out there for these adventure bikes, they don't come with a forestry approved spark arrestor in it. So you definitely want to hang on to your stock pipe. But would I go ahead and order this before you buy your Tenere 700? Probably not. Your stock system's good enough. Later on, if you just want to swap it out to swap it, then go ahead and get a aftermarket system. Is there a performance gain between this cheap one and a more expensive one? Probably not much of a difference. Like I said, the only benefit of going to a different system other than this one for aftermarket exhaust is if you're trying to find one that actually has a spark arrestor in it. Something else I always recommend buying for bikes is a battery tender. They're about $10. They're easy to connect. Some dealerships are awesome and they actually put these on the bikes for free of charge. And they go ahead and just include them in the price of the bike, because I mean, this is something you'll definitely want to have a battery tender and just keep your bike on it, because it'll more or less than pay for itself keeping that battery charged, and you will get a lot more life out of the stock battery or any aftermarket battery you put on the bike. So definitely recommend this to go ahead and order. Moving back here to the luggage system. This is the Kriega 24-liter system, so it's two 12-liter bags. After doing some research on different bags, I went with this style because I just wanted something that was easy on and off, that when I wanted to load up and go someplace, it wasn't a 30-minute hassle with a bunch of different loops and buckles and straps. And I just wanted something, a nice clean look. I absolutely hate hard luggage on any type of dual sport or adventure bike. I think they're dangerous. I think they look hideous. And I don't think I'll ever run those on any type of bike. I love soft bags because if it falls on you, it's not going to break your leg in half. And it also, I think, looks a lot better on the bike. Doesn't make it look like an old KLR 650. No offense to those guys. This comes with a base system for the Tenere 700. These pop on and off. It has a rear section that you can actually put another bag on it. I'll do another review on these later on, but this is something that I would say no, I would not go ahead and buy these before you get the Tenere 700, unless you already have a big trip planned to where you can get some overnight gear. Then I would say go ahead and get these, but this is something you can definitely wait on getting after you get the Tenere 700. You don't have to go ahead and buy these. I got the camel tail tidy back here. Not something that you need right out the gate. It definitely cleans up the rear end of the bike. The stock tail section on these are hideous. I just don't understand why the manufacturers cannot make a good tail section for their bikes off the showroom floor. Same thing with the turn signals. I think they're still using the same turn signals as they were on bikes from the 80s. And as cheap as they can make a new turn signal, especially with LED technology now, I'm not sure why they just don't include those stock with the bikes. I use the Camel tail tidy. I wouldn't say it's a pain in the ass to install. It just takes time because it uses a lot of the same hardware and bits and pieces from the stock tail section. So you might want to allow yourself about 2 hours to do the complete swap. Once you go to the tail tidy, I'd go ahead and upgrade to some LED turn signals just based for the looks. Definitely not something you have to run right away. I think I put about 1,500 miles on the bike. I got 3,000 miles on it now. I ran 1,500 miles of that with the stock system. It works. I know some stock tail sections on different bikes break after heavy off-road use because they're kind of just like fragile. I think the T7 stock tail section would probably hold up just fine, but like I said, it's just hideous. But it's definitely not something I would say go ahead and order unless you just want to make sure your bike looks exactly the way you want it to look right out the gate. Turn signals, the factory ones are ugly, but they work. You can rock those for a while and be fine. These, I think they're just as bright as the stock ones. They cost $20 from Amazon for the front and rear. There are definitely brighter ones out there, like some of the Cyclops for about $150. But I figured I'd give these a go, see how I like them. If they didn't work or they break, I'm just gonna order some different ones, probably go to the Cyclops next. But outside of that, guys, that's pretty much everything I'd recommend for the Tenere 700 before you actually buy a Yamaha Tenere 700. The only thing that I would add is go ahead and buy a oil change kit for that 700 mile service. These things are extremely easy to do oil changes on. Do not take it to a dealership and pay the outrageous price of that first service. Just do it yourself. It'll take 30 minutes to do. So just buy your few quarts of oil, buy your filter, buy your crush washer, set it aside, have it ready to go, because the last thing you want to do is when you hit that first service limit and you don't have that and you realize the dealership is backed up for 2 months and they can't get you in, and then you got this brand new bike you can't ride because of that. So go ahead and buy the oil, have it set aside, or at very least when you buy the Tenere 700, make sure you go ahead and buy that oil change kit with the bike that same day, because this bike is extremely easy to put a lot of miles on. So you will hit that first service very, very quick. That pretty much covers everything I would recommend buying for your Yamaha Tenere 700 before you actually buy your Yamaha Tenere 700. I know part of the fun of these adventure bikes, dual sport bikes, is kind of customizing them, making them your own. But also I've seen people order and pay thousands of dollars for accessories before they actually buy the bike. And I think a lot of those guys have buyer's remorse once they realize, well, this part I thought would be nice, but actually I don't really need this part. Or once you ride the bike, you kind of wish, well, I probably would have went to this different style, different brand if I actually rode the bike first. So hopefully this kind of saves the hassle of buying stuff and exchanging it. And hopefully it allows you guys to have an idea of what I recommend buying first. So you can go ahead and go get those accessories ordered. That way when your Yamaha Tenere 700 comes in, everything's ready to bolt on, you're ready to go that first weekend. Go ahead and like and comment if you have any questions about the pieces I went over. I'll be doing some reviews over some of the bigger pieces like the crash bars, the luggage systems, and separate videos. So make sure you subscribe to see any of those. And once again, guys, I appreciate you guys watching. See ya.